that nobody expected, their travel actually just to get to Yaoundé in Cameroon to be so disrupted?
Well, I think, Velile, these are some of the things you should expect when you travel in the continent and when you face daunting tasks like this one of qualifying for the World Cup or even for the African Cup of Nations. And these are some of the trials and the tribulations that our teams have to go through and also conquer, because in Africa it's not only about what happens on the field of play, but also off the field as well. So, and also, you know, we should stop looking at the situations as if it's situations that only happen to South Africa. It happens to all the teams, especially when you are on away assignments. What is important for us now is to regroup and refocus and make sure that whatever happens on the field of play tomorrow in Yaoundé is everything that we wanted, which is maximum points, because it's important that we win this game, because a win for Central African Republic will give them hope and take them to 6 points and a point ahead of us. So it's important that we forget about what is happening in the last 72 hours and focus on what is important tomorrow.
Before all these travel disruptions, which have captured the media spotlight, it was also the injuries to the team key men being out, Sepo Maselela, Khiso Dikgatwe.
Yes, I think for me, one crucial part which has been affected here is our back four. If you look at the situation of, there's not Morgan Gold who was there. He played together with Thabo Ntete in the previous game between the two teams, and you also have Thabo Matlaba is out, and also the first choice left back Sepo Maselela is out, so you would have Nunes will come in here. So when you have your defense disrupted, it becomes very difficult. But I think it was crucial that Goni Hassan managed to get that friendly last week against Lesotho and tested the combinations at the back, and I'm very much sure that he's going to tomorrow's game happy, and also despite the disruptions of the traveling arrangements, he will look back in that friendly against Lesotho as something that he can hold on and say it was important that he had that game and tested the combinations. Whatever happened this week, it had to happen, but what is important is that we got a good test, and we can go to tomorrow after the 2 sessions is had there in Yaoundé.
How much of a test was Lesotho?
Obviously, Lesotho was not going to be a major test. If you look at their record, especially in the qualifiers, lost 7-0 to Ghana. Obviously, one will look at also their loss in Libya as well, but one in Sudan, but also one will say they held Zambia to a 1-1 draw. But for Lesotho, it was not just about the test. It was what the coach wanted to achieve out of that friendly match, which was to test combinations, especially at the back. And also, if you look at some of the regular players, Tukelo Rantier, May Mahlangu, Imitu Milenkuna himself, and also Renele Tsulinyane, they didn't take part in that game. So also it was about giving some other players a chance, so that whatever happens in those 2 qualifiers in the next 2 weeks, he will have players to rely on. They came close to Kholela with a brace. So some players came through, and you can rely on some fringe players when the going gets tough.
Very importantly, you mentioned that this is the first of 2 qualifiers over the next 2 weeks. They're very, very important in terms of our World Cup qualification campaign. We're in Group A. We've played 3, won 1, drawn 2, and we're 2 points behind group leaders Ethiopia in Group A. There's 3 matches still to play. Bafana up against the CAR and Ethiopia. Both of those matches are away before we host Botswana. But this match and next week's match are absolutely crucial, because you have to win your group to actually go through to the final phase of qualifying.
Without a doubt, we have to shrug off something that has been also troubling us. Our away record is not very good, especially in qualifiers. So this is something that we have to start addressing in tomorrow's game. But also importantly for me is the other fixture that is taking place in Gaborone tomorrow. Is Ethiopia against Botswana. Fortunately, I had the opportunity to speak to one of the Botswana players, Joel Mokhorosi. He plays for Bloemfontein and Celtic, and he knows very well that their campaign ends tomorrow. If they lose or anything less than 3 points tomorrow for them against Ethiopia, it will end their campaign. So we also have to rely on what happens in that game. But I think what is important for us is to win all our games. We win all our games, that means it's 9 points, and we'll be ahead of Ethiopia, because that game next week in Addis Ababa, it becomes very crucial. But before we talk about that game, we should address the issue of maximum points tomorrow.
All right, Velile, just quickly, your score for tomorrow, your prediction.
It's going to be very tough. Obviously, I think...
not the political answer,
I think it's good that we're not playing them in Bangi due to the reasons that we all know. So I would go for a 2-1.
To Bafana?
Yep.
All right, that's Velile Mbuli's prediction of the game tomorrow. It's the World Cup qualifier. Bafana up against the Central African Republic from neutral ground in Yaoundé, Cameroon.